Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello? Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link. On July 4th, 1962, I found myself in the lost and found of mankind. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that it wants to be there. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that the person who lost it doesn't care for that lost item.
You are writing moments that people will learn from, grow from, and heal through for thousands of years. Together, we are co-authoring a unique moment in time. That DNA, those fingerprints, they're going to be gone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But it is your story that they will tell for thousands of years. But only if you leave it. Things that do not serve you must go. The longer you wait, the more time you give them to trick you into serving them. 22 homes in foster care, everything I wore as a scar, as a shame, things that started like Velcro on my spirit. After just a few months, then years, then decades, I had believed myself into believing that they were indelible tattoos. Sometimes we have to be broken down to appreciate the view once we start getting up. I want you to leave this place and know that you have been changed. Why? How do I know it's true? Because each of you has just changed.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. before you get it, baby. Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
Well, saddle up and get ready, partner. I have had this hat for about a year and didn't dare wear it until it was perfectly suited for the occasion. And since I haven't been to a rodeo lately, this is it. Today, we've got J.R. Smith of the Veterans Ranch in here. And, man, I wish I had a saddle or at least one of those suede jackets with the fringe things on it. Right? Oh, my God. I even watched a rerun of the Kevin Costner thing, the show that will never come back, I don't believe. What's the name of it? I can't remember the name of it. Oh my God, I love that show too. But anyway, you know the one I'm talking about, right? Out on the Montana ranch. Oh, love it. So anyway, yeah, before we get JR in here, happy Friday. Do you know I woke, it wasn't until like 10 minutes ago I knew it was Friday. I thought it was Thursday. How excited did I get when I find out it's Friday? Oh my goodness. Now that's a good senior moment, the kind you look forward to. So anyway, it's been a fantastic week here. We've had some great conversations, illuminated as they are always here on Bathrobe Moments. And today is going to be more of the same. Great way to round out the week. Couple announcements. If you are in the grocery store over the weekend, you know how they have the little magazine part, not the ones by the, you know, when you're in the lane, but they some stores have those sections where they have a broad array of magazines. Get over and pick up a copy of the current Los Angeles Times. Lord, they told me to quit saying that. Los Angeles Tribune magazine. We're in it. That's right. You'll find us in there. We thank you, God. We have a 2-page spread where they are celebrating our Legacy of Hope tour back in May when we went to Romania and poured into over 700 kids. And really excited about that. Really excited. So get over and get that. I am still reeling from this time last week, just returning home. I had just gotten home like 10 minutes ago, this time last week from my 5 days out in San Diego for the RPXP retreat. And I'm not kidding you. There's more coming up. As a matter of fact, not next week, but the week after. There will be a 13-day Bathrobe Moments takeover where I am featuring 13 attendees of this life-changing, for me anyway, opportunity that I just experienced last week out in San Diego. So mark your calendars for that. So anyway, I'm all saddled up and ready to go. You know, I think my head must have shrank since I got this, because I remember a year ago when I got it, I put it on and Brian said, "Ooh, don't wear that." I thought it was too little because I got a big ass head, right? I really do. But it's fitting. You hear me talking ranch talk. Comcast, let's pray for them, shall we? Okay. Bella Purpose is here. So does the truth. And last but not least, before we get Mr. JR in here, welcome to the show, my sidekick. She's my version of Ed McMahon. Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. Been here all 7 years. See the flag up in the corner. Always there when we have a veteran on the show. I'm a veteran. I bet you didn't know there's really only one form of military, one branch that is, and that is the Air Force. I don't know what those others were doing,
But sorry, it's just my story and I'm sticking to it. But anyway, here he comes. And he won't be here long if he doesn't have something nice to say about the Air Force. Get it, J.R. Smith?
We love the Air Force.
Good answer. You get to stay. You get a car, and you get a horse. So how are... Oh. Your hat seems to be a bit bigger than mine.
Well, you know.
Dang. That's a first. I'm just kidding. How are you?
Doing awesome, brother. Doing awesome. Thanks for having us in here today, man. Super pumped.
I bet. Now, is that like, that's a real cowboy hat? Is that a Stetson?
That is a Stetson, the only one to wear.
Oh my God. I saw some couples. Where was I coming from? Salt Lake City. There were a bunch of people coming from a rodeo, right? And was it a rodeo? I think it was. But they had bought a bunch of hats at the thing, and their kids were wandering off. Babies, 2 and 3 year olds. They're like, let him go. Don't touch that box. They were protecting those hats. Like, I was like, but your child is going down the wrong concourse. He'll find his way home. But that hat, you know.
Yeah, ranch kids, they'll figure it out. Yeah. Huh? Ranch kids, they'll figure it out. You know, you could easily on a low end pay $400 for a hat up to $1,500, $2,000. You protect that box.
How many do you have?
Counting the ones over there. About 8.
8 hats?
Yeah, 8 hats, about 6, 7 pairs of boots. I collect hats like some people collect purses and watches.
Oh my God. You want to see? You think you do. Look over
right there. You go.
and there's a thing over there. Okay. So we both collect hats. Great. But you do a lot that I want the world to know about today. Here's how we're going to get started, because I really want to raise awareness and raise the bar on what you folks are doing out there at the Veterans Ranch and why. So why don't we do this? I'd like to dip out for a second. I need to polish up my boots real quick so you can take over and just, create your own vibe with everybody. Fill in between the blanks. Oh, you did give me I forgot that you gave me a bio. So I will say this. Hold on, so you're not embarrassed. J.R. Smith is a proud patriot and one. I wish I had some music playing in the background. J.R. Smith is a proud patriot and one of the co-founders of the Veterans Ranch. He started the organization with his wife, Pam. Hey, Pam. Hey, Pam, what's your name backwards? Map. Who is also a proud patriot, and J.R.'s father, Mike, who is a United States Navy Vietnam veteran. And he's a whole bunch of stuff in here. Let's get to the equine therapy. The Veterans Ranch, here it is, provides free equine therapies, free equine therapy services to our veteran and Gold Star family communities. We want them to lay down any heavy coats of burden and start to walk off in a new and improved version of themselves. Oh, that's beautiful. So now you can come back in. Okay, there you go. Right. And, some people get uncomfortable when you're tooting their horn. So
that's all good.
That's really beautiful. I'm going to dip out. You create your own vibe, whatever. I'll come in and we'll get officially started.
Wait. Sounds good. Well, so the Veterans Ranch started back in 2017, literally by the good Lord and a legal pad. My dad always taught me to keep a legal pad by the bed in case you get an idea in the middle of the night. I chicken scratched the word ranch, had no idea what it meant about 3 o'clock in the morning. 2 weeks later, we're going to, go do some shopping. I don't want to plug other people that aren't sponsors. And we stop at a restaurant to get some, just get something to eat because we'll spend all day at this particular store. About 20 little napkins later, the ideas for the Veterans Ranch were born, man. We just wrote them down, good, bad, or ugly. And by December of 2017, we were a charity. As stated, free, yes, free equine therapy to the veteran and Gold Star family community. Why free? Because the now veterans or anybody who's currently serving today had signed their name on the dotted line to potentially give their last full measure of devotion for their country, regardless of what their job is. Somebody slinging eggs for 20 years has their weapon nearby because they may need to put down their spatula and grab that weapon and do their job or their alternate job. So That is all the payment we need. We are not a conflict specific organization. A lot of the big dogs out there, God bless them for how they run their organization, they are a post 9/11 only organization. If our qualifications, you wore the uniform, God bless you, get in touch with us, you qualify. Today, you'll see my shirt here. Today is Red Friday. Red stands for remember everyone deployed till they all come home. Okay, so you can go to tvrmerch.com, buy all the kind of ranch merch. Every donation, every merch piece bought helps support us being able to do absolutely be able to allow us to keep doing the free stuff we do.
I know that's hey, wait a minute. I gotta do one better than that. Because all of that was great stuff. We will. Okay, so wow, how exciting. Now you may not know this, but I actually have a ranch right here in my town. A bottle of Hidden Valley.
Okay.
Ranch dressing.
That's right.
That's about as close as it. Wasn't that good?
Yeah. Well, that's what they call it. When
if you don't laugh, I'll bring in my own. I'm just saying.
When you dress like a cowboy, it's ranch dressing.
Just to say for my brown brothers and sisters out there, thank you to Charlie Pride, who opened the way for us to be accepted. And look at it. Hasn't it come a long way? Look at all the African-American singers and stuff that are now killing it in the country music world. And I'll tell you something. Back when I was back in my music career in my 20s and stuff, when I was out in LA doing it and would be able to go to the award shows and stuff, I'm gonna tell you something. If you ever have you ever been to the Country Music Awards?
No.
CMAs? I have. And let me tell you something. The country music population are the most beautiful people on the planet. I mean, they are, the women are gorgeous. The guys are guys that every guy wants to be and every woman wants to be with. And just the most wonderful people. When I was in radio, my very first station out of broadcasting school was KTLA, Town and Country Radio. And I fell in love with country music. Lori Morgan in particular. Reba, of course. Who's your favorite country artist?
Ooh, that's tough.
Got a lot of them, do you?
I do, because you got different genres. You go old school. You got
Garth Brooks. Oh, you mean old school like Conway Twitty?
Cash, Willie, Waylon.
Willie.
Can't go wrong with Conway Twitty. More modern, Trace Atkins, Toby Keith. I don't get into too much. My major country music stops at about 1996.
Mm-hmm.
Modern country music, that's a different topic for a different day. It's not all country music. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
Cody Johnson, big time modern country music fan.
Really?
Love Kojo. Been part of the Kojo Nation since you could only find him on TikTok. That's.
Wow. And when I was actually in the Air Force in Phoenix, Arizona, I went to not Invergordon, that was the street it was on, in Paradise Valley. What was it called? I can't think of the studio. Pantheon Studios. And I sang literally twice background on 2 different albums for Waylon Jennings and for Glenn Campbell out there. Nice. Back then, country music people loved black background singers. Well, I think Elvis started all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And great stuff. So let's get to it. I want to show. Let me pull it up first, though. There, because maybe I should wait and blow it up after you guys get in here. There's a little video. Can you set it up? It's the Understanding PTSD, Teresa's story, a 2-minute clip I found on your website. Can you tell us, as I get it pulled up, why you chose that particular story and how it ties into what you guys are doing out there at the ranch?
Yeah, absolutely. We were looking for some stuff because not all veterans want to share what they go through in our program. So we needed something to put in there. That is provided through the VA. And let me tell you something, if it doesn't, put a lump in your throat, a little allergy in your eye after watching it, You may just need to check your heart rate.
Right.
It totally exemplifies what our veterans are going through. Not all veterans are broken. Not all veterans have PTSD. We want to qualify that right now.
Correct.
But for a lot of the ones that do, this is what they're experiencing. And again, by us providing, we call them God's majestic animal. Okay, we'll get into why horses are so important here in a little bit. But through what we do to help people like this, this story just absolutely touched our heart.
And before we get into that, was it on your site that I read? I think I read a story somewhere when I was doing my research a couple of weeks ago about you guys, about a veteran who was like really short and the horse was like 3 times taller than him.
Yeah.
And
he was 5'5" with boots on. Now they measure horses in hands. Okay. So you turn your hand sideways. That's one hand, two hand. This horse from hoof to withers, okay, that's where they measure shoulder, that's where they measure it to, was about 19 hands, 20 hands. And this dude was 5'5" with boots on. So I'm 6'4". So I'm looking at
you are?
Yeah. I don't look it in this chair, but I'm 6'4" and about 270. So this guy at 5'5" is looking at ribs, and we didn't know why. He, of course, we all know the acronym for FINE. Veterans tend to make the first letter more colorful than most. And, so the reality was he was fine 10 minutes prior, but we knew there was some reason he didn't want to be there. He was there with his wife. His wife rode dressage for 20 years. She was medically retired Air Force. He was active duty Air Force.
Oh, no wonder I was drawn to their story.
She comes over to us and says, Jerry, you got to help me. He's freaking out. He's cursing me out. He's mad. He wants to go home. We knew what the deal was. He was scared because we paired him up with a Belgian. Okay. For everybody that doesn't know horses, take a Budweiser Clydesdale. We all know what they look like. Shrink it down just a tick. And there's a Belgian. Okay. So 2,000 plus pound horse. Here's a dude 5'5". And so I'm a patriot. A patriot means we're the 99% that support y'all, the 1% that wear the uniform. My dad's a veteran. My wife's dad's a veteran. So I will never talk to a veteran. I always wear cowboy boots, never wear combat boots. So I will not talk to a veteran like I've been there, done that, and bought the t-shirt. We always have veterans with us. I brought a Marine over with me. Okay. Marines, as everybody knows, love to make fun of everybody. And for some reason, they love picking on Air Force. In the interbranch rivalry, they call y'all Air Force.
I already know, right?
Yeah, right. I knew you knew. So for anybody that didn't know, right? So I'm like, I'm telling him what's going on, and he's like, "Oh, I got this." I'm like, "Oh shit, what's he gonna do?" So he comes over to him, but he had to get him. He knew he had to get him off that horse and mindset uniform to uniform. So he's like, "What the F's wrong with you, Airman? You a wuss? You can't get on a horse? You're going to go back to Okinawa and you can't get on a horse? What the hell's wrong with you?" Now we only let that go on about 30 seconds because, again, we were not trying to make the situation worse, but we had to break his chain of thought.
Exactly.
And he starts, and he goes, we're like, "Seriously, 10 minutes ago, you were fine. Now you're freaking out. What's wrong?" He goes, "Guys, I'm from the Bronx."
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's all he had to say. We're all cracking up. He's like, dogs in the neighborhood were strays. I didn't have any pets, and you want me to get on this monstrosity? Long story short, he ended up going on 2 trail rides, not 1. By the end of that, 2+ hours on a horse that was much wider than him.
Yeah.
He was walking around like he'd been on a 3-day lope. We had fun with him. We tossed him a bag of frozen peas, and he's like, "F you guys, but thanks."
A bag of frozen peas. Isn't that what you put on something that's like swelling?
Yeah.
Where do you put it?
He's kind of walking a little bit like this. Let's just say he was quite bow-legged.
Because it really does hurt your ass.
Oh, it wasn't his ass that was hurting.
Okay.
I'm trying to be clean about it, but you get the point.
I get it, you guys. So
the bottom line is he left that day.
Let's just say they went from this to this. So let's take a look at the clip, and then we're gonna try to dive a little deep today. Hopefully not too triggering, but it's a conversation that begs to be had. So Let's take a look at this video and see where it takes us. Take a look, everyone.
Situation was that we were on mission. We were heading north. The truck in front of us hit a roadside bomb. There were no survivors. I had injured my back, my head, and my arm. The passenger that was sitting in the seat where I was supposed to have been sitting had injured his entire right side. That's something I've carried with me and I'll always carry with me. I was diagnosed with PTSD when I came back in October of 2004. I started having nightmares. They had to put me on sleeping pill for that. They had to put me on anxiety medication for it because I was having panic attacks daily for it. Found out the sleeping pill wasn't working. I started having breakthrough dreams. I didn't want to work. I didn't want to leave my house. I didn't want to do anything. I was getting in trouble at work. One day I guess you could say I went off and I cussed out my NCO, my platoon leader. And he was going to write me up. And my first sergeant stepped in and said, no, she's going to go see the psychiatrist. I found a counselor that said, okay, you can't do this anymore. You've got to face what's really going on. And now I've got a great support team. I am doing better. And that is due to the one-on therapy that I get. It is due to the VA doctors here that I see in DC. I owe a tremendous thanks to the counselors that I've got. Everybody should take the chance and seek out their VA system. I think that's one of the most important things. I can't stress it enough.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. So let's go into, okay, the ranch has been working for how long? How long has it been out there?
6 years this December.
6 years. How many vets have come through there, would you say?
We average about 500 to 1,000 a year. Vets and family members and, Gold Star families, because Gold Star families get so left behind.
What is that? Explain what that means.
Yeah.
I saw that in the Bible.
So if you are parents and you have active duty kids, you are a Blue Star family. Okay. It does not have to be in combat, by the way. This is a misnomer. If you lose that child while in the service, you become a Gold Star family. Yeah. I don't have it on me right now. I got it in another room. I should have brought it with me. I was back in Texas because we're a two-state organization. So we're Florida and Texas.
Okay.
I was back in Texas about 5 months ago. We honored for the PBR World Finals professional bull riders, for everybody that doesn't know. We honored a Vietnam era veteran, and she was a Gold Star mom at the same time. She didn't know we were doing it. And again, none of the credit, it goes to me on this. This is the good Lord and the horse. We do not break our shoulder, patting ourselves on the back. We honored her in front of about 18,000 people at the PBR World Finals in Fort Worth that weekend. And she came back and she's fiddling through her bag. I'm thinking she's, looking for a Kleenex because it took everything she had to hold back every tear. And she handed me her son's challenge coin. I have quite a collection of challenge coins back there, but I never had one with somebody's kid's face on it.
Explain to the folks that may not know what one of those is, what
Sure.
a challenge coin is, would you, JR?
Yeah, so it's actually branched out outside of the service, but so a challenge coin would be in a branch of service. Police officers carry them, and it's maybe something that has their unit insignia on it. Their branch of service. It can be, I've seen hundreds of different variations, and you trade them. Okay. Just like when you're a kid, you trade baseball cards or whatever, but the meaning behind somebody giving you their challenge coin to say they like you and respect you is a minor way to put it. So So it's usually something in remembrance when you trade them like that. We've had challenge coins in the past of our own. We're getting some new ones made. And so she has these coins to remember her son who was lost in the Navy in 1996. Yeah. So, again, I've got other challenge coins back there, but not one with somebody's kid's face on it. I mean, I carry it with me everywhere I go every day. That one hit me. I'm like, all right, you got me back here, because I might be 6'4" and 270, but somebody hands me their kid's challenge coin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big softy, I mean, that's so unbelievably, humbling to us.
I want to touch on a subject. Well, these kind of go hand in hand as far as the PTSD thing. We hear a lot about it. There are a lot of organizations that work in that realm of helping vets and their families with this PTSD thing. But it's so commonly talked about surface wise, but not down underneath the skin and the underlying signs and some of the things we heard in the clip. And also how I'd like to talk today at some point too about how you may partner with organizations that go to the 222 thing, which is, when someone, the PTS leads them to the suicide world. And that's a bit, so they kind of go hand in hand like a seatbelt when you really think about it. And so we had Andre Rush on a few years ago. Do you know him?
I do
Andre
not.
Rush, he's a White House chef.
I don't know him though.
Mr. America, all that stuff. He does like 2022 or something like that. Push-ups a day.
Yeah.
Because of his work with the veteran suicide.
Yep.
To eradicate it. So I want to ask you this, and I love this because a lot of us don't think about the families, but I also want to touch on the community about when veterans come home. A lot of people are shocked when they hear the way a lot of veterans are treated, or mistreated is probably a better way of putting it, when they come home. Can you just talk about that before we go down the block so far away from it that it won't make sense? Yeah. I don't want to miss that piece today. So let's go there now. What have you experienced? What do you hear? And what do you feel about this subject?
Well, I saw a video yesterday kind of preparing for today, and somebody nailed it. Man, so right on point. You get to be Rambo every day. You get to drive $1 million tank, and you come home after hanging up the uniform and you're cutting grass. Nothing against lawn care guys, don't at me. But you know what I'm saying? You do all this really cool stuff, and now you're just a normal guy, normal gal. Well, there is nothing normal about you, because you went from being a young, dumb 18-year-old kid stepping on the yellow boot prints off the bus with 4 drill instructors yelling orders at you, and one time using words your mama never used.
Right.
To now, you've got to go back to what us civilians call the, quote, real world. Your real world's been told when to pee for the last 4 years, bare minimum. Okay. We don't talk about veterans' issues. Sadly, we never have. Okay. My grandfather was tail end of World War II, Big Red One in the Army. The neighborhood my dad and my mom grew up in had Patton's tank driver live behind them. The book that they show in Band of Brothers that they're looking for, that they're trying to find all the pictures and everything in Hitler's house. Guess what? The guy that lived down the street from my dad had it. Those are the kind of, but they didn't talk about this kind of stuff. Go home, shut up. You did your time, raise a family, suck it up, buttercup, and that carried into the Vietnam era. Korea, especially, then Vietnam. My dad doesn't talk about it. I know a few of the funny stories about him stiffing Jeep knees so they could make Cinderella Liberty and not get, brought before the man. And, and then carrying all the way up through, a lot of stuff happened in the 80s. A lot of people don't realize. Then I graduated high school in 1991. 3 of my buddies go straight to the sandbox in the Marine Corps. Now they all come home, but they can't come home the same. You saw things that are just the worst humanity had to offer. My dad was running Marines upriver out of Da Nang, running dual 50 cals on the front of PBRs. He saw the worst humanity had to offer. You can't be the same after that. So they get home, they hang up the uniform, but up here in their head, they can't take it off because you got all that training. You live in an acronym world with a chain of command that goes up and down. In the corporate world, I was in sales from the time I was 18 and I turned 51 the end of this year. Okay. So I've seen the corporate ladder. Oh, there's supposed to be a structure. It's dog eat dog. Somebody's stepping on somebody else to get a promotion. And veterans get burned out. They get fried. So they go, oh, they got PTSD. They overreact. No, they have a moral system, moral fiber, a code that most people can't understand.
Yeah.
You know, I love A Few Good Men. Okay. Code, honor, loyalty. You know, they stick by those things because you're there to get them home. They're there to get you home. There's no atheists in foxholes. But we don't live in that world. Some people in modern generations have absolutely no veterans in their family, and nothing wrong with that. But we got to start discussing these issues because what are they taught? What are we taught as men? Shove it down, chest up, stiff upper lip. There's no crying. You don't show your feelings. And then wonder why some guys, gals, even veterans are putting down a fifth of Jack a day to calm the voices in their head and quote, ease the pain.
This is so true. And I want to ask you because I remember when my nephew Chad came home and he had been stationed at Guantanamo Bay. And, you know, so he didn't get deployed, but he did. I mean, right here. And he came back so messed up. We really thought we were going to lose him. I mean, we really thought we were going to lose him. I mean, I would sit on my mom's porch and talk to him or out on the stairs, and he was just so distant. He had seen things he will never forget. And, you know, it was just, I felt helpless. I really felt helpless. And so we're going to get into the equine part. I'm going to pull your website back up, but I want to ask you this before we go there. Do you think the military has a responsibility? We remember when we were in the recruiter's office. We remember, especially those of us I didn't come from a family where anyone had ever served. No one. And so I was the first. And when I went in the recruiter's office, I was like, oh my God, I wasn't even planning. I was waiting for a movie to start across the street at the theater and saw a sign in the window. Watch a free video. I was like, I got 45 minutes. I'll go kill her. Next day, I was in Indianapolis at the MEP station with my hand in the air. Right. And I was like, right. And, but do you feel that there's a moral obligation? They do their version of a psyche valve and all this, but to bring this stuff in at the front about it, should you deploy? A lot of veterans deal with this. Is this something you're willing to risk? Because you know how a lot of people say, oh, thank you for your service. I've met so many that veterans where I feel like the first thing out of our mouths should be thank you for your sacrifice. Because there's so many sacrifices, things you can never do over, things you can never get back. And a young 17-year-old, because a lot of kids go in before to get early, so what do you feel about that? Would it have made a difference in your world or the world of some of the people you've seen out at the ranch? Do you believe had they known what was possible down the road as a repercussion of signing up?
Look, I think recruiters get some of the hardest jobs on the planet. Okay. They got to be the salesman of salesmen.
They really do. And they're good.
Oh, they're real good. Trust me. I sat in the Marine recruiter's office. Okay. I had the opportunity to go.
Wait.
And I will be the first to honestly say it just wasn't for me.
You were a Marine?
No. I sat in his office. I didn't go. I didn't wear the uniform. Just always real clear with that. But I sat in his office and I listened to the lines, man, and I could read between the lines real quick. Look, their job's to sell you into it's not a job, it's an adventure, and you're going to see the world and get a job and make new friends. And look, if they told everybody what was really going to happen, no one would sign up.
No, everybody run the opposite direction.
Yeah, I really believe that you either have it in your heart to serve and you want to go. Sometimes people are still told, hey, it's the Marine Corps or prison. That still happens. It's not, sometimes it's choice versus chance, kind of thing. So no, I don't think it's their moral obligation to tell the 17-year-old kid that's sitting in the recruiter's office. However, I will say that the service has to do better. They've gotten better. I will give them this credit. They've gotten better at trying to deal with PTS. The in-service suicide rate has skyrocketed. Wait till I tell you what the current daily veteran suicide rate is. It'll blow most people's socks off. Because the theory was, if it wasn't a unit problem, it's your personal problem and deal with it on your personal time.
Yeah.
Well, depending on what your job is, you don't have any personal time. So
when is that? When
you shove it down, compartmentalize, move on. Okay. So, I mean, and I get how they tell them that, but they're getting better at dealing with it. They got to do even better. I'm not saying they got to baby people and whatever, but do you want to lose a life and have somebody become a statistic, or do you want to help that individual and maybe they stay even longer? Maybe they make a career out of it because you helped them. Service has got to get better at that. But then as they're getting out, they got to stop treating them like they're breaking up with their boyfriend or girlfriend. I talked to one veteran. He said, I get to wear my civvies for 2 weeks. And they said, bye. That was his transition out period.
Right. No reentry.
No, none. Now, again, service has gotten a little better on that, little better. But that's where organizations like ours and a lot of the other big dogs you see on TV come into play. And quite honestly, the government should be so good at their job that a nonprofit dealing with veterans really shouldn't even need to exist.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the government, and as all my veteran buddies quotely laugh, military intelligence as an oxymoron term, they don't do what they're supposed to do or what they should do. And they just dump you out into the world like you get to the end and you're in a wheelbarrow and they go, here you go.
That's so true, because, and it's not something that's new. I mean, my father-in-law, Vietnam, and you do not bring that up. It is off limits. Everyone warns everyone, don't bring it up. Don't ask him any questions. And that's pretty much the way it is for a lot. And so it has gotten better, because at least people can approach and be approached. But I want to ask you this. So we're going to talk about, we see what the wound is. Now we're going to talk about some of the healing, which is what you all do. So what service branch did you serve in?
No, I'm none. So
none at all?
No. I am just a proud patriot. Means we support everyone that wore the uniform.
Wow, I was ready to kick you out of the broadcast when you said anything but Air Force. No, I don't even get to do that. Wait, I'll do it anyway. Bye-bye. I'm kidding. I was already doing it. So ADHD rampantly running through here. Wow. That makes what you do to me personally as a vet even more. I can't even find the word. I mean, I really am like stuck. I had no idea, JR. Let me ask you, why? Why did you step up? Why was this so important to you as someone who hasn't even been in the military, worn the uniform?
Well, here, I'm a Gen Xer, okay? We're not far apart in age, all right? So, we grew up with, you didn't have thank you for your service. That came out of Vietnam guilt, okay? Because of the way Vietnam veterans were treated when they got home. My dad especially came through San Francisco International, spit on, called baby killer because he had his uniform on and the whole 9 yards. Okay. So between my dad, his brother was Navy Vietnam era, just meaning his ship didn't go back to Vietnam. My other uncle, who we lost to Alzheimer's a few years back, his job, okay, you talk about different forms of PTS. He was in Big Red 1, but he was a clerk. Okay. Didn't have, he had his weapon, but he wasn't out in the field. But you know what he did? He had to proofread and write, because we're talking Vietnam era. So no computer, no copy and paste. You had to hand type all of the "we regret to inform you" letters going home to the family.
My goodness.
Imagine his level of PTS. Okay. At one point, the story goes, he actually begged his CO to give him a gun and go out in the field, because it had to be better than what he was doing every day. And of course, they tell you, no, son, your job's important. Basically, shut up and get back to work.
Right.
So when this all started, We were looking for ways to help because we were getting sick and tired of being sick and tired of reading stories about people going to a VA and saying, hey, I'm effed up here. I feel like hurting myself. I want to check myself in. And somebody saying, no, you're not that effed up. Go on home. And they off themselves in the car, in the parking lot, because they figure if their own government's not going to listen to them, who's going to listen to them?
Right. There's no place to go in their mind.
Yeah. And so, between the deny till you die, don't get me wrong. I love the VA. Okay. I'm not slamming the VA.
I do too.
But it is a government overbloated, mismanaged, organization. They are a 400. There was a story last year on military.com talking about how you can't legislate away veteran suicide. And I was waiting for Captain Obvious to come dancing across the screen. Okay. But what they talked about is how the VA's budget now is $452 billion a year. And we still have a climbing veteran suicide rate and an opioid addiction rate that is off the charts because it's deny till you die. Here's another pill. Here's another pill. They have my father-in-law as a legal drug addict. He's a functioning legal drug addict and almost 90 years old because he hurt his back in the Army when he was in 55 to 57. He's 100% disabled. And they got him on so much stuff. You try and take him off two things. He screams about the pain, whether it's real or phantom, whatever.
Yes.
That in his mind, he's got to have it. He'll be on him till he dies.
Let's tell people about this because what is it? Tell us about what these horses really do. What is that magical connection? And we're looking at the screen on the homepage of your website, and right there at the top, we see two choices: sponsor a horse or donate now. What's the difference?
Okay, so if you just want to make a one-time or set up a monthly donation, you can do that. That's where the donate now comes in. Everything's a donation. We love everything that comes in. But you sponsor a horse, we just got 3 horses donated to us. Okay. For the last 6 years, we run this out of our house in Florida, Texas, put a lot of miles on my F-350, burn a lot of diesel, and we travel around and we had to use other people's horses and facilities to do what we do. And we were proud to be able to do that. But somebody just, out of the graciousness of their heart, just donated 3 horses to us.
Wow.
Well, for everybody out there in the horse world, they'll know this is the truest statement they've ever heard. The word sheep and horse never go hand in hand.
Right.
A fool and his money are closer to get together than sheep and horse. Okay. So now we got feed bills. Now we got hay bills. Now we have, basically a place to keep them bills, boarding bills. All right. So we have all these things that come up. Then you have vet bills. We trim our nails about every 6 weeks. A horse can't trim its own hooves. So you got to have a farrier come out about every 6-8 weeks and do the hooves. All those expenses come into play. So let's say you like King. King is the black Tennessee Walker in the back of the picture there. Okay. And you want to sponsor King, or you want to sponsor Rico or Bo. You can sponsor a horse. We're going to send you updates on how that horse is doing, what they're doing with veterans, and you're going to get your own T-shirt that says, I support Bo at the Veterans Ranch with a picture of Bo on it.
Nice. Just like people sponsor kids in other countries.
There you go. Exactly.
Let me ask you about this because I never even considered this. I see this little one here. Mm-hmm. Do veterans come and bring their whole family? Oh, well, we know we did because the guy from the Bronx had his wife. But what about, do their children come because they need healing as well?
Absolutely. Yeah,
talk about
absolutely. It's all about the whole family unit. We've done things in the past where, let's say the one deploys, that's the chief cook and bottle washer of the house, man. They're the one that run everything. Well, now whoever's left at home has to be chief cook and bottle washer for 6-8 months, a year, 2 years. And then sometimes when that person comes back home, they kind of want it the way it was, right? Just fall right back into place. It can't be, because that person's had to be mother or father, depending on who's deployed, the cook, the taxi cab, the whole 9 yards, right? So we bring the family together and we're giving the orders, okay? We're telling them what to do with the horse, but they have to work together as a family unit. All right. And we've had families just break down in tears because they realize you start peeling off some of the layers of the onion. Guess what? Now you see how you can work together as a unit again. It's not one person in charge or anything else above that. So, to get slightly scientific for a minute, okay? A human's energy field, because we're all energy, every time your heart beats, energy goes out, is about 5 to 7 feet. Okay. That's why outside of your mother, who had eyes in the back of her head, you could sneak up on somebody. Yep. There's my wife. There's my dad.
Nice.
You could see, and that's our daughter. She's now 19 years old. That's a little bit of an older picture. But so anyway, you can sneak up on somebody and, they don't even know they're there. A horse, its energy field is 15 to 30 feet and can feel a gnat land on its back.
Wow.
That is an intuitive nature because they're pack animals and prey animals. Okay. Out in the wild, all their defense mechanism is or bite you or kick you. Now, if you've ever had that happen, that hurts like hell. Either way, it really does. And out in the wild, that's not much of a defense mechanism. So their fight or flight is flight 99% of the time. What does this all come to? Comes to you have to build a bond of trust with an animal inherently born not to trust anyone. We start real simple, okay? We put one of these in your hand. Shout out to Decker Manufacturing out of Keokuk, Iowa. They're one of our sponsors that provide our grooming equipment.
Nice.
Okay. We put a
so that you can brush them and bond with
we
them.
put a grooming brush in your hand. You're working a rhythmic motion. You're detaching your brain for a second. In sales training, we used to always tell you, leave your baggage at the door. It'll be there when you get back because they'll know on the other side of the desk or phone if you need that commission. Well, in the veteran space, we want there to be less baggage to pick up when you get back to the door. So your hands are on the horse. You're learning about the horse. The horse is learning about you.
Yeah.
And you're starting to build that bond of trust. Moving forward, we put you in a round pen where it's just you, the horse, and you got a training flag. No lead ropes, no halters. You can't tug on that horse and make it bend to your will. You guys have to work together. We had a young man, we kept him in this is about a year ago. We kept him in the round pen for an hour and a half, Air Force veteran. Okay. We were trying to get him to relax. All right. And what happens if I tell you to relax a dozen times? The exact opposite happens. This man's jaw got so tight that when we said to relax, he goes, I am relaxing.
Right.
Right. Long story short, we had this young man walking shoulder to shoulder around the round pen with this beautiful white mare. Okay. Female horse for everybody who doesn't know. Looked like the Lone Ranger, looked like silver. Okay.
Okay.
Turn and go the other way. Okay. And got him back to the center of the arena and he said, now what? Said, just wait. Again, speeding up the story, within 5 minutes, that horse came up and put her nose right in his chest. And this young man melted like he was 2. It was a watershed moment. Come to find out, he'd spent 9 months in the brig, accused of something he knew he didn't do. Finally, they got the right person that was supposed to be in jail, let him out. But now the damage was done. 19-year-old kid spending 9 months in a military prison.
Right.
So, he said, look, I'm not much of a crier, but, when that horse touched me, it was beyond me.
Yeah. Now, speaking of, let's look at these other, we've touched on the equine therapy. And before we move to the workshops and PTSD, we got about 4 or 5 minutes left. I wanted to ask about what's the process of how do you know which horse best suits which veteran?
The horse generally picks you. You don't pick the horse.
So you you let them go in there and meet them all, and you could which one comes on. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
We had one happen one time where this particular individual's kind of over the rail petting this horse and everything's all good, and we're thinking, okay, there's the connection. Oh no, this other horse basically came in, shoved that horse out of the way, and like, this is my guy. And they worked together beautifully. And the person that was with the other horse, it was a perfect match. I'm telling you, the intuitiveness is off the charts.
How do they? And I've heard they're like that. The horses are like that because I have had people on. I have several autistic or on the spectrum coaching clients, and almost all of them have had some type of equine therapy at the beginning of their learning how to move inside of society. Because a lot of them, kind of lock themselves down.
Yeah.
Because people don't know how to treat them.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's just amazing. So talk about what happens in the workshops. Where do you get the people? Are these volunteers, the facilitators? How's that work?
In the workshops, we use a classroom picture, but in a lot of times our workshops involve a campfire. Okay. You will share things with people around a campfire you haven't shared in your whole life.
Got that right.
There is just something psychological about a campfire, being out under God's stars. Okay.
Yeah.
We do bring in, if available, the mobile VA unit. So if something is above our pay grade, there is somebody there qualified to discuss those things with them. When you show up to our events, so I'm kind of giving away some inside stuff here, but we hand you a booklet, okay, from the $1.25 store. You got to write down names and numbers. Inflation's a mother, right?
Got that right.
You got to write down names and numbers. Why? Because you could put it in this, but guess what? You're going to forget it 2 seconds afterwards. When you write with intention, you get more memory out of it, okay? Then you have to write down something you need to let go of. When it comes time after dinner, which, by the way, if you're on a diet, you're not when you come to our events, because we're eating burgers, dogs, biscuits, gravy, bacon. Okay, we're eating cowboy food.
Eating good.
Yeah, I can cook. So we let people know it's getting serious around the fire. They can stick around if they want. You stand up, you tear that page out of the book. You can share on it if you want. That's how I knew what happened to the Air Force veteran, because he shared. You throw the page in the fire. When the words burn, they're gone. You got to let it go. Okay. First step in a 1,000-mile journey. I know, because if that was the case, we'd all be out at a fire every day, like playing 52 card pickup, throwing stuff in a fire. Okay. But that sharing made the Marine next to him share his, and he threw his page in the fire. Amen. I was the only civilian around the campfire at the time, and they were thanking me for what we were doing. And I said, thank you for sharing, because it's hard enough to share amongst other veterans, and you share with a civilian. Thank you. Humbles the hell out of us every time that happens. And I got hundreds of stories like that.
So what is the biggest need, and how can us here at Bathrobe Moments, but also the viewers, what is it that you all are in need of out there at the Veterans Ranch mostly right now?
Yeah.
What could you use?
Yeah, to say a nonprofit needs money, again, we should have Captain Obvious come dancing across the screen. We apply for grants. We do all those things, but those are a 4 to 6 month process as to maybe you do, maybe you don't, get the grant or a partial. So, we do need those donors. We rely on the grassroots people out there that are proud flag waving, God loving Americans that love the fact that everything we do today is because of you and everybody else that wore the uniform today. I don't care what your job was. I don't care if you deployed or not. The 1% that wore the uniform is why we get to do what we're doing today. So yes, we do need those donations, but we need the word spread. Okay. We are not yet the big dogs you see on TV with $450 million a year budgets to, run $50,000 commercials on Fox News or something like that. Okay. Yeah. We'll get there. But we need people to help spread the word of our message, our mission, connect with us on the socials, share our stuff, let people know we exist, because it is small grassroots nonprofits like us that quite honestly are getting more boots on the ground done every day than the ones that are paying celebrities hundreds of thousands of dollars to get stuff done.
I agree, and I believe it. I'm going to tell you guys as we get out of here. And first of all, thank you so much, J.R. Smith. And your entire team out there at the Veterans Ranch, as well as all of the supporters. And if you, and I know you will, feel that you can support or maybe even just share what they're doing out at the Veterans Ranch with someone that is of a service-minded heart set. I want to just say briefly before we get out of here, you all don't take for granted what it really means to live in the home of the free and the land of the brave. When I was in Romania in May, I finished on my 1 day off, went up to the border of Romania where it meets the Ukraine, a little town, a village, if you will, by the name of Siret. And just getting within 50 miles of there, you could see the landscape change. Everything felt different. I didn't feel as comfortable. It just, anything could happen at any moment. You really start understanding what being safe, going to sleep and waking up with that sense of safetiness, what it truly means. So please don't take it for granted. And all of these things make it possible. Everything you've heard here today, make it possible for you to peek into the room of the people you love. When you turn out the lights, you check the doors to make sure everything is secure, and you look in at your little ones or whomever it may be that means the most to you, and you can breathe easy, rest easy, because you live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Don't forget that. And again, JR, thank you. You're welcome back anytime. So proud of the work you're doing. And I salute you. Thank you so much. And thank you
all. We
for your
appreciate it.
service. Thank you so much. Listen, you guys, have a great weekend. Better yet, have a blessed weekend. Don't just occupy any space this weekend. Occupy sacred space. If you're going to make a couple friends this weekend, make sure they're blessed friends. And as you create and put together whatever your memories are going to be of the weekend, make sure they're divine memories, not just fond ones. Will you do that? I hope so. And I promise to meet you, God willing, out front on the front porch come Monday morning, 8 a.m. Central, so we can have another illuminated conversation where, you guessed it, right here on Bathrobe Moments. JR, again, thank you, man. I'm really proud of the work you're doing. Somebody's got to do it, and I think you're the best suited for it. So thank you again. And in closing, as always, I'll tell you again, and I mean it again, I love, love, love all of you. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Get out of here. Have the best day ever. Bye, everyone. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell